Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Wang, and I'm excited to be back with all of you. Today, we're diving into the intriguing topic of introducing your family name in Chinese. Let's begin with a practical example. I am surnamed Wang, which is expressed as 我姓王.
我姓王.
By the end of this episode, you'll have a solid grasp of the pronunciation and characters of 10 Chinese words. With my explanations, you'll be able to firmly engrave these characters into your memory and seamlessly incorporate them into your language skills. Let's begin by exploring the character
我.
The pictograph for 我 depicts a person holding a long weapon. This visual representation has evolved into the modern Chinese character 我. If you look at the left side of 我, you'll notice a figure resembling a person. The upper part might remind you of a slanted stroke similar to a hat or long hair, while the horizontal stroke below it is a part of the character on the right. For visual balance, it extends in this direction. The vertical stroke represents the person's body, the lower hook can be seen as foot, and the raised middle stroke portrays a confident arm. Now, shift your focus to the right side of 我, where you'll encounter the ancient weapon 戈.
戈.
This weapon consists of a long pole with a sharp metal blade affixed at the top. It bears a striking resemblance to a tool modern-day farmers use to cut grass. The stroke that extends from the upper left to the lower right signifies the length of the weapon's pole. The hook at the end serves a decorative purpose. The elongated horizontal stroke above denotes the metal blade, while the diagonal stroke below mirrors a robust arm gripping the weapon. You might even imagine the dot in the upper right as representing an enemy's head or a depiction of blood. In essence, 我 vividly portrays a person holding a weapon. The pronunciation of 我 closely resembles the first syllable of woman. What's interesting is that the second syllable of woman aligns with the pronunciation of man, which we use in 我们 to signify we or us.
我们.
This sonic parallel with woman serves as a helpful mnemonic device for recalling the pronunciation of
我们.
Now, let's turn our attention to
们.
This character is a fusion of 人 and 们.
门.
As we discussed in a previous episode, episode 1, 人 symbolizes a person standing on two legs. However, for the sake of memory, you can envision it as a person in motion, as the pronunciation of 人 is similar to the past tense of run, ran. Now, let's delve into 们. Imagine this scene: you're at a bustling bar. The place is packed with people having a great time. But as more people arrive, it gets even more crowded. Eventually, there are so many folks inside that the latecomers can't even step through the door. This is where 们 comes into play. Is a plural marker for pronouns and nouns. When applied to people, it signifies multiple people, like a group or a crowd. It's a way of expressing that there's not just one person but several. So, you can see how this character reflects the idea of a gathering or a multitude of individuals. Now you know, when you see 们, you're looking at a group of people, not just a single person. It's a great example of how Chinese characters can visually represent their meanings, making them both fascinating and informative. The right part of 们 is 门. The character 门 indeed represents a door, and you can imagine it as one of those classic saloon-style doors you might have seen in old Western movies. These are the types of doors that dramatically swing open in both directions. In Chinese, its pronunciation is 门. To help remember this pronunciation, we've employed a clever visual aid. Picture two men whose portraits are securely affixed to the door. These portraits on the door serve as a helpful connection between the character 门 and its pronunciation, 门. This visual association, where two men are essentially part of the door itself, not only enhances our comprehension of the character but also makes it much easier to remember. It's an excellent example of how Chinese characters can carry both meaning and vivid visual cues to aid in learning and memorization. Now, let's delve into the characters
姓.
It's formed by merging the characters
女
and 生.
生.
As we explored in a previous episode, episode 2, 女 stems from a representation of a woman with bent knees. In this context, we introduce a new concept, 生, which visually signifies a pregnant woman. The horizontal stroke in the center of 生 symbolizes a pregnant belly, which evolved into a horizontal stroke over time. The strokes above can be likened to the woman's long hair and her hand, while the horizontal stroke below can be interpreted as her feet or the ground. The pronunciation of 生 is xing, which may pose a challenge for non-Chinese speakers due to its retroflex start. However, you can attempt to pronounce it by referencing the phrase she and fetus. Start with the first syllable of she and then transition smoothly into the first syllable of and. Once you've grasped the intermediary sound, shn, make any necessary adjustments to achieve the correct pronunciation.
生
By combining yu and sheng, we encapsulate the concept of a family name. In a maternal society, it's the mother who imparts her family name to her child. Thus, the character xing represents the idea of a family name. By appending your family name after 我姓,
我姓
you can convey, I am surnamed. In English. For instance, 我姓 Wang translates to, my family name is Wang.
我姓王
The character Wang consists of a horizontal stroke above and the character tu below. The tu character resembles a significant piece of land on the ground, symbolizing soil or land. The upper horizontal stroke signifies the authority to unify and cover the entire land. This horizontal stroke serves as the Chinese numeral for 1, akin to the Arabic numeral 1 laid horizontally. Its simple shape is easy to recall. Speaking of pronunciation, the Mandarin pronunciation of yi
一
closely resembles the English word ee, as in see. In English, ee often forms nouns denoting a person who is directly or indirectly affected by the action of the formative verb, like employee. This connects with the concept of yi being the smallest numeral. Now, let's explore the connection between ee and the number 1. The number 1 holds a unique significance as the smallest numeral. Some might humorously liken an employee to a small potato in a company, although that's open to debate. However, if associating the pronunciation of yi with ee helps with memorization, then that's a useful tool. Furthermore, I highly recommend forging a connection between the pronunciation of yi and eel. The second syllable in eel strongly echoes the pronunciation of the Chinese number 2, r, represented by 2 horizontal strokes. When you articulate yi and r in Chinese, you'll notice a striking auditory similarity to the sound of eel, especially if you enunciate eel deliberately.
一二
Now, let's return to the character Wang.
王
The horizontal stroke yi on top symbolizes the authority to unify and cover the entire land. This leads us to the concept of kingship. Who holds the authority to do this? The king, of course. Thus, the essence of Wang is king, with a pronunciation akin to want. I previously shared my name's pronunciation, similar to the iconic phrase, I want you, from Uncle Sam's recruitment poster, combined with, and me. For more details on this story, curious learners can refer back to the first episode. To summarize, the character Wang is closely tied to the concept of kingship, with a pronunciation reminiscent of want. Just as we associated ee with the number 1, these mnemonic devices can make the learning experience more enjoyable and effective. Absolutely, if your family name is Wang, you can readily introduce yourself with 我姓 Wang,
我姓王
conveying, I am surnamed.
王
Similarly, individuals like Peter Pan or Sean Connery, famous for playing the role of 007, can use the format 我姓, followed by their family name to introduce themselves. For instance, Peter Pan could say 我姓 Pan, Sean Connery could say 我姓 Connery, and the 007 agent could opt for 我姓 Bond. Likewise, Captain Jack Sparrow might use 我姓 Sparrow, and the actor Johnny Depp, who played Captain Jack in the movie, could introduce his surname in real life as 我姓 Depp. This approach simplifies the sharing and recognition of these names. So, what's your family name? Just add it after 我姓 to introduce yourself. For instance, 我姓.
我姓
In this episode, we've explored 10 new words. Signifies self-reference, 哥
哥
represents a weapon for self-defense. We used woman as a mnemonic for woman,
我们
which means we or us. Then we zero in on men, which means a door. When pronounced, it's
门
To firmly grasp this pronunciation, we've crafted a clever visual aid. Picture 2 individuals whose portraits are securely attached to the door. These portraits on the door serve as a helpful link between the character men and its pronunciation.
门
Furthermore, sheng
生
symbolizes life. The amalgamation of sheng and nu leads to the creation of the character for family name xing. We've also explored examples like Wang,
王
which denotes a king and is a fusion of yi
一
and tu.
土
We then progressed to learning r
二
after yi. With this comprehensive overview, are you prepared to commit the pronunciation and writing of these 10 characters to memory? Let's transition into practicing how to write them. As you write, remember the associated stories and pronunciations to ensure effective learning.
我我哥哥们们门门姓姓生生王王一二土
Big thanks to the Learning Program for Stroke Order of Chinese Characters from Taiwan's Ministry of Education for their support. After practicing the stroke order, have you successfully memorized the pronunciation, characters, and the stories behind these 10 Chinese words? If you find this learning style beneficial, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thank you for your support, and I'm eagerly looking forward to our next episode.